Hello everybody, my name is Will, and welcome back to Sprocket for the first time in, well, the better part of a month, to be entirely honest. It's been quite a while. I had quite the illness, and it basically attacked all of the things that you need as a YouTuber, aka your focus and your voice. I could not sit and focus on one thing for a particularly long period of time without my head hurting, and I couldn't speak. So that's not great for video production. However, I'm feeling better now. So, as of uploading this video, fingers crossed, the Space Marine 2 game has just come out into early access, and I have got it, and I really want to play it. However, I'm going to make this video because I really badly need to, and in order to satiate my desires for Warhammer, we're going to build a Warhammer tank, and therefore, I can capitalize on that game's release. So if you like Warhammer, give this a like so that all the people who are looking at Warhammer videos maybe get a Sprocket video rather than the game they've actually looked for, and I can make a lot of money off this. Anyway, without any further ado, we're going to get straight into building this thing. And fingers crossed, it doesn't look awful. Okay, so the realization has hit me that I just had the video paused up until this point, which is not spectacular. However, we have a hull now, and I believe you can probably tell that this is meant to be Warhammer inspired. It's quite simple. It is generally just block shapes, and I've obviously done the shaping of the tracks. So this is going to be the time-lapse segment, and indeed, time-lapse segment it is. Hello, I am the post-commentary Will that you all so crave. Last time we played Sprocket, we were talking about my brand new editing software, and then immediately as that happened, the Geiger counter that I had on my desk began to alert me of the cesium-135 that I keep on my desk at all points in time. Luckily, I didn't die of radiation poisoning between now and then. However, it did give me a horrible cough, and fortunately I've survived. Anyway, if you have absolutely no idea what I'm speaking about, if you'd watched the last Sprocket video, the audio went horrifically wrong and started crackling. That turned out to be the actual recorded audio file, so I am no longer recording the audio in the editor itself, as I have lost all faith in it. I do not want to do a 15-minute audio recording just for it to be crackly and have absolutely no way of saving it. So, I am now recording it in a different software, which then I will import into the editing software. Right, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything this time is good and we're not crackling. You've probably seen the thumbnail for this video. You've probably seen the title, and you've even more probably heard the start of this. I am absolutely dying to go play Space Marine 2 right now. It finished downloading at about this point in the video. I have gigabit internet. It's very, very quick to download something, because I've also got an M.2 that I've downloaded this game to. It was downloading at like 110 megabytes a second, and it was done way sooner than I was expecting it to be. This video has been torturous. I want to go play the game. I want to go stab some things. Anyway, I cannot. My duty calls. I must do my job, and that is make silly little tank videos on YouTube. And the silly little tank today is not very little. This thing is probably the biggest tank that I've made in about a year, and definitely the biggest tank that I've made in the 0.2 beta. It's very difficult, it turns out, to get this many guns on a tank and have it work. So I didn't really worry too much about the internal of this thing feeling proper, feeling like an actual tank, because A, it's meant to be set in the Warhammer world. People are very different in the real world to the Warhammer world, and B, this isn't meant to be manned by people. I would imagine this is meant to be manned by Space Marines. That is to say, massive armor-wearing soldiers who weigh like 60 tons on their own, or however much. They're very large. I'm sure any of you who have any knowledge of Warhammer know what a Space Marine is. And if you don't know what a Space Marine is, you can just Google it. They're one of the most like unanimous factions in Warhammer. Yeah. Anyway, we end up with this thing having 4 cannons, basically. We have 2 130 odd millimeter cannons, 125 4-5mm, I think it is, and then two 250mm cannons in the main turret. So it's got some hefty firepower. However, these guns are thoroughly useless when it comes to the actual game, because in order to fit everything in here, they kind of have to have a fairly small breach, which means the shells flop out at a kind of low velocity and don't do a huge amount of damage once they hit their target, and they do not punch through a lot of metal. But yeah, I can't lie. When I'm building this large, it is quite hard to come up with a full tank like this in super high detail and not at any point start to flag a little bit. But yeah, I did my best. I do struggle when it comes to extremely large things to just keep the level of detail that I start with. Realistically, what I should probably be doing is spreading these across multiple days, but I do not have another day where I can record this video coming up for about a week. So it has to be done tonight, and I have to get to work tomorrow. So there's time limits, basically, and I have to kind of cut some corners. But where you don't have to cut corners, and therefore I can kind of fob this one off on you. If you fancy really finishing up this design and doing a little bit of work to it, this tank will be in the tank repository channel of my Discord, which is linked in the description. If I've forgotten about it, feel free to ping me. I will post it in there. It is just, I'm a little bit stupid and I'm quite tired after I make these videos. So that's no concern, and I won't get too angry at you. I might just ban you from the server, which is, you know, a common... I don't know why I say these things. Like, it's never going to reflect well on me as a person if I joke to be just a horrible, horrible moderator and, like, a horrible person. I was joking about, like, monetizing the Warhammer craze that people are presumably going to have over Space Marine 2. And that's half a joke. Like, obviously, you make the video to tie in to, like, the world event. But I don't get much money. I do get money. I don't get much money from these videos. I work a 40-hour job. The vast majority of my income is not YouTube. YouTube is minuscule in comparison to that. So if you're thinking like, oh, he's such a sellout, maybe, but not as much as you might be worrying about. Anyway, yeah, if I was just doing this for money, I definitely wouldn't do the YouTube channel. I'd just focus on the rest of the things that cause me stress rather than this thing that causes me stress. Where are we? Yes, we're at about 28,000 subscribers now. That is a big number. That's a very large number. Our goal for the year was 35,000, and frankly, we're not on course. Between my upload schedule and the two games that I play kind of going through dead periods, like Sprocket at the start of the year, Fly Out at the end of the year, or up until now, where there's not really been any updates in those time frames, it's not been amazing for growth of the channel. So if you do like the channel and if you do want to try and help me get to that goal, then I would greatly appreciate it. You can just drop a subscribe. That would be great. Yeah, you can actually see the first turret here, which I gave up on. I'll explain more in a second. Okay, I think that is our hull roughly done. Obviously, there's a lot more that you can do with Warhammer tanks, but I don't have all of the time in the world. So at some point, we got to draw the line. I think it's looking really, really good. I don't know about you, but fingers crossed we can do a turret that matches this hull and really fits the vibe. And hopefully, it won't take me a million billion years. Getting this thing to work is going to be an adventure, though. So, what happened to the turret? Yeah, it just completely glitched out. I cannot even begin to describe how badly it glitched out. I couldn't load it into the editor. My right click just stopped working to select like edges, faces, edges, vertices, there we go. Goodness me, I forgot the word. Yeah, it just completely stopped being able to select anything. So I went and I tried to load the tank back in, and it just said, like, can't load this part, it's broken. Give up. And so I mean, not in those words, obviously, but that's what I did. And we went for this turret, which was a little bit less ambitious. I wanted like a big semi-spherical turret with a thing sticking out the front, kind of like, there's a name for it. It is the... Oh, I can't remember for the life of me. We'll give up. We'll give up on that one because I can't just spend the entire video just wondering what the heck I'm trying to talk about. But anyway, it's one of the Warhammer tanks, and yeah, it would have been really, really cool. However, it's just so fiddly to get shapes like that to actually work. It would be nice if we got our like template turrets back, like a cylinder template turret would be absolute godsend. The amount of times that I want to base my turret off a cylinder and not like panzer shape that it is by default is crazy. So hopefully we get those back at some point soon. We didn't have a cylinder, but we obviously had our like smooth semi-sphere turret already. It wasn't quite a semi-sphere, it had like squared edges, but that would have been probably a preferable option to the kind of default turret that we are stuck with here. And I'm sorry if you hear any weird noises in the background. My cat, as per usual, has decided that right now is when she's gonna start just attacking every single little thing in the room. And if you want to know what my cat looks like, I made a community post with just a really high resolution picture of my cat. I was trying out the 50 megapixel camera on my phone, and I just got what I thought was a cool picture of my cat, so that's on the community page now. Go look at my cat. She's good, and sometimes a little goblin, but most of the time she's good. And you can actually see here we've made a mistake, which I'm not going to realize for like way too long, and I'm saying this now just because I know it's going to annoy you from this point on to the rest of the video. But the two front guns on the hull here have glitched out, and they've kind of moved into one another, and they're no longer where I placed them, and it takes me just an incredibly long amount of time to realize. Like, I'm a little bit concerned about how long it took me to notice, because it's not a minor thing. Like, that's quite a significant problem on the tank design, highlighted in bright red. But you know, maybe I'm just losing myself. Yeah. What have I been up to other than being ill? I've played so many survival games lately. It is something that I've been playing. For some reason, every single time I'm ill, it's normally just a game. Sometimes it's a genre of games. This time it was a genre of games that I just got super into for absolutely no reason. And I've been playing loads and loads and loads of Abiotic Factor, is probably the main one, but also a lot of Medieval Dynasty. It's now been about a week since I played either, and I feel the burnout. But I also really want to finish them because I found another one, which is the like Return to Moria, which is based on the dwarves from Lord of the Rings. And I just went on like a binge of all of the Lord of the Rings movies just before I got really ill. And so that's right up my alley. And yeah, I tell you what, I really enjoyed the Lord of the Rings movie. I'm going to say something that really is going to shock a couple of you. I've never watched them before this. This was the first time I ever watched them. They were being shown at a cinema in town, and they were the extended cuts. So I was like, hell, why not? It was fairly cheap for the tickets, and best of all, I didn't pay for the tickets. My partner paid for the tickets, which is an extra win. Free free binge watching of all of these movies at the cinema, and they gave you a drink and a bucket of popcorn, which I literally never got through. That drink was dangerous in a cinema for 4 hours per movie. It was incredibly difficult to hold in during like important scenes. That drink. You know what I mean if you've ever been to a movie that long. It gets difficult, man. What a crazy tangent we have just come on. And if you're still here, if you're still at this point in the video, and you've never watched one of these before, this is how it is on most of these. So, like, strap yourselves in if you've decided that you like this channel. This is just what it's like. We go on these crazy tangents, and that's the fun of it all. That's why my channel grows really slowly as well, I think. Because, like, who watches this? Deep down, who watches? I wouldn't watch this, but you guys watch this, and I do appreciate that. I appreciate it greatly. Sometimes I joke that I don't, but deep down, I do. Shall we talk about the tank for the first time in a little while? Because I'm putting on the gun, or guns, in a moment. I decide that one gun just won't cut it, and it's time to upgrade to 2 guns. And as you can see, these are max caliber 250mm guns. Sorry, just punched the microphone. And this update actually brought a bunch of new stuff. There is actually a new update as of this video. 2, in fact. There's HVSS in the game now. We do not use it for this tank. Just didn't really feel necessary. Didn't fit the kind of design that we were going for. And something that we are using is custom mantlets are back. So previously you kind of had to use just one mantlet and just slap your own add-on plates onto it, at which point you could then build up your own custom mantler, and that worked. But now you can just place a trunnion directly on your tank, which is what I did on this one. Place an add-on plate on that, and you don't have this like base game mantlet there, which is super nice. As well as that, they've brought back, I say they, Hamish has brought back all of the default mantlets that used to be in the game prior to the 0.20 update. So great stuff. Absolutely love to see it. And with the rate that things have been getting re-added to this update, I cannot wait to see what we get next. It shouldn't even be too long. Okay, we have the tank pretty much there, I think. It's maybe not as crazy as some Warhammer tanks out there, but it's definitely crazy. And we do have the added challenge of actually getting this thing to work. Yeah, that's what I'm going to attempt to do now. We're going to need to fit the transmission in. We're going to have to put some engines in this thing. This is going to be pretty monstrous, and it looks like we got a slight bug here with the total mass, which could ruin everything, but we'll see. I managed to fix the mass issue. That was to do with the face normals. That's fine. That's fine. And now it's part of well, what? Sorry, goodness me, I've completely failed to speak. Now it is time for everybody's favourite part of these videos, which is Human Tetris, the easiest game of Human Tetris that we have ever done on this channel. You could barely struggle to fit a mass of 10 people in here. It would be an absolute breeze. This is essentially a giant tank with tiny people in it at this point in time. They look so incredibly and hilariously small in comparison to this thing, and you can see me here just greebling up the side of the turret because I thought it just looked a little bit plain, and generally that's probably my biggest problem with this tank. It does look a little plain. We got that the council will decide your fate seating in here. They're just sitting here ominously. What are you doing? Yeah, look, I had a little bit of I was going a little bit stir crazy by this point in the build. I know this has become a bit of a trend of me saying this. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of you are like rolling your eyes right now. But it's probably the longest build I've done in this game in terms of the amount of time that I spent on this. This is sped up slightly more than usual, and we've had to cut out a fair bit of it. But yeah, just as soon as you get like 10% larger, it doesn't take like 10% longer to build the tank. You end up spending so much more time on it because you've got to put detail into those flat areas, otherwise it just looks odd. And so that is possibly where this falls flat a little bit in its design. Obviously, just time constraints, really. I'm already running out of time this evening, and I still have quite a lot of things to do before I go to bed. But we move on. we move on. And as you can see here, we've got just the craziest crew layout in here. 4 people chilling behind those 2 guns on the front. 4 people chilling behind the 2 big guns in the turret. 1 guy driving the thing. We could comfortably probably fit another 5-6 people in here. After that, we might start struggling, but if we actually worked with it, I imagine we could easily fit probably 20-30 people in this tank. But yeah, no, they don't need to put up with that many other people. It's okay. And this is just me setting up the constraints on the guns and setting up all of the turret drives to make sure that they work and stuff. So I'm going to spare you the boring stuff here, and we're going to skip to this thing being done. Okay, we are calling this design here. We can just about move in all of the ways that you would want a tank to. This is 133 tons of tank that is moving around. We are powered by a big old engine. A very, very big old engine. And come to think of it, I've not really tweaked this transmission. It definitely could be done better. We could probably get up quite a lot of speed, actually, if I were to tweak the engine. Let me just do that, and let's see how much speed we can get out of this thing. Okay, the numbers I ended up with are not as far away from the original numbers as I thought, but it is definitely quicker now. And as you can see, the turning circle, definitely not the best in the world, but not completely awful as well. We can independently fire each of the 4 guns, and I appear to have forgotten a scope. Let me add that as well. Okay, we have a scope now. We can independently fire each of the 4 guns. We have all of them are basically independent of each other. We've got 2 250mm guns and 2 like 120-odd-millimeter guns in the hull there. Yep, those are 120mm guns. I know they don't look it, but this thing is huge. Anyway, if we give the guns a test fire here, we can do our very best to try and hit a target, but I'm imagining this is not going to be very easy. I say that, we actually nearly hit there, and now we have a nice, smooth 34-second reload before we get another attempt. Let's just rotate the hull a little bit. We might be able to use these hull guns to get some success. No, not that time. What about here? These only have about 5 degrees off the center line of aiming, so you definitely need a little bit of patience with the rotation of the hull here if you want to get anywhere. And these guns have absolutely no penetration whatsoever. It's actually quite funny how low the penetration is, considering how big the guns are. And for some reason, we've lost all turret traverse, but oh no, there we go. It's back. Yeah, as you can see, it is fully functional. Just. And I think it looks quite good. There's definitely more that could be done with this. There's more that could be added to it, but I don't have a million years. So, and I want to get playing Space Marine 2. So this is it for now. And let me know what you think I could do with this. Let me know if you want to have a go building something on this hull, perhaps. As always, this will be in the Tank Repository channel in my Discord, which will be linked in the description, and you can have a go with it yourself. But yeah, for now, that is all, I'm afraid, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and or subscribe to the channel, maybe. I'm making a proper meal of this. Can we kill him through the back? I don't think I put any armor on it. Come on. That's a terrible shot. Please. Maybe? Okay, no, it's... Thank you for watching. Goodbye. And as always, a huge thank you to my YouTube supporters, and of course, my super supporters, Cody Fox, Cruiser25, Peter Holmes, Peter Seifert, CamJam135, Marlon Gwekin, Stug3, and Terra. You guys are amazing.